Jen Ledger, you are amazing. Thanks for being here with us on the Made It in Music podcast today.
Thank you for having me. It feels very official.
Well, it is official,
Okay.
and we're talking about something that is very exciting to me today, which is your long-awaited solo release.
I know this is the first interview / talk / video / anything I've done to do with the Ledger project. So.
Well, I'm honored that you would take the time to do it with us, and we talked a little bit about it in our write today, but just how long of a process it's been.
Yes.
And it's just now coming to fruition.
Totally.
I mean, how's it feeling? You're Atlantic Records and
honestly, it's just so surreal because, you get a dream in your heart or you feel like something's on the horizon, but all you can do is work towards it, but you never know how long that's going to take. And so for me, it's been such a process of, I think this is something I'm meant to do, and sort of it's been a long road of even me like pushing on doors, like, what does this mean if I want to start writing? So it was really intimidating. And obviously I work with the Coopers, who are some of the best like songwriters, I think, in the whole world.
Yeah, amazing.
So saying to them, hey guys, I'd like to start a project on the side. And it's pretty intimidating telling such legit people. And then not only that, but asking them to train me in it. So it was really intimidating, but exciting. And it's been probably like a 4 or 5 year journey of, hey, where do I start? And just learning from square one. Yeah. And I've really enjoyed it. But obviously there's ups and downs in the process of, am I stupid? Am I stupid for trying this? I don't know. Because I think, it's always intimidating to try something new. But it's been pretty exciting journey, and it's really cool to see it all come together finally.
Well, you've got a ton of fans that, a lot of people don't quite realize the maybe the nuts and bolts that goes into making an artist's career. That's kind of why we do the podcast, to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit. So why don't we go all the way back, and why don't you tell us, what was your first dollar that you ever made in music?
Well, if we go all the way back officially, I think when I was like 8 years old, I sang in a British church choir. Okay. And I made £2. You
got paid to be in
Saturday,
the church?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was like if you showed, we were a terrible choir. I mean, it was honestly really bad, but weddings would hire like British church choirs. So I made £2 on a Saturday.
That's
and I
awesome.
Felt completely rich. So does that count?
It totally counts. Let's fast forward to, because how long have you been with Skillet now?
It's been 10 years. This is like my 10-year anniversary right now. Yeah.
Well, we're celebrating that today. That's amazing.
Yes, thank you.
So between that church choir and Skillet, just fill us in a little bit on the journey. What was the story that kind of led up to Skillet?
My journey, I feel like, is quite unique. Like, sometimes I wish I had a better formula to share with people. In some ways, I'd love to say, hey, I worked really hard, and if you work really hard, it will pay off. However, my story is kind of really the opposite. Basically, I started learning the drums when I was about 12 or 13 years old, and I really did it because I wanted to impress my older brothers. Like, I basically copied anything they did. I got really good at sports. They were really into music, so I was like, I'm going to be a rock and roll girl, and they're going to think I'm cool finally. And so I was playing the drums from about 12, 13. And I actually came to America to do like a Bible music school. And it was when I was on that school that I got really discouraged, and I kind of felt like, if this is how I was around other people that were so muso and so like couldn't wait to try out the new like gear, or they just ate it up. And I realized I didn't have that same, like, I don't play like that. I do really love music and I really love playing, but it actually made me feel quite discouraged that I wasn't like the other people around me. And it made me think, and truthfully, I really hated actually playing in front of people. I started to get kind of insecure, and so I actually quit the drums altogether, and I decided I didn't want to play anymore. And it was a year later, I'd been filling in on the bass, which I decided to pick up and learn for a bit because I was so stressed out by the drums and I thought I was no good at them. And it was a year later that Skillet were holding auditions for the new drummer. And I got asked by Corey's sister, would you be willing to audition? And I I actually said no. I was like, I'm not interested in performing, and the drums stress me out. I don't want to be in front of people. I was just kind of struggling with insecurity to kind of a crippling degree. But I was praying about it, and I really felt like I was supposed to try out. And so I kind of tried out for Skillet, knowing like, I think this is something that I'm meant to do. This is really hard and really stretching for me to put myself out there.
Yeah.
And in the audition, you know, John Cooper asked me to perform a few songs and also to do a solo. And then we had the interview after. And the day before, I was so incredibly nervous, I couldn't even play my solo. It was like the idea of playing was just like so stressful. I had my friends come over to check my solo out. I couldn't do it. I was shaking too much.
Wow.
And so like, when the audition came and I knew that the Coopers were on their way to watch me play, I just prayed and I was like, you know, whatever's meant to be will be, and just performed the songs, performed the solo, and it went flawlessly. And I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
That was too impressive. So then in the interview, I'm like, just so you know, I've actually quit the drums. However, I do feel like if this is something that God's put before me, and if this is something that I'm meant to do, I'll give my all to it. But if you guys don't want me, I'm happy to never play again.
Wow.
And so they were like, I got a call a couple of days later, and they were like, we appreciate your honesty, and we'd like to go with you. And honestly, I didn't even believe it. It was so many things went into that. Like, they didn't know I was only 17 at the time. They didn't know that I'd only been playing for 4 years or so. They didn't know, but they found it all out, and they were like, oh my gosh, we would never have auditioned you had we ever known anything about you. And it was just like everything lined up so well. I just knew it was something I was meant to do. And now I'm so glad I went through it, because insecurity would have stole this whole career from me. And now here I am 10 years in, starting my own project, being a part of a band that's toured the entire world, you know, and it's so incredible, and I never imagined I'd be able to do something like that with my life, you know.
Wow, that's amazing. So was Skillet was that your first like going full time into music, or had you already been kind of full time?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I was 17 and my dream was to be a hairdresser. I played at church on Sundays for 200 people, and I was terrified at doing that. And then all of a sudden, first ever tour was Winter Jam, which is the biggest Christian tour in the entire world.
Yeah,
15,000 people in an arena, just turned 18. Here's some fire on the side of you. Don't die, and just do your best. It was pretty intimidating.
Crazy. I want to think back to that kind of audition period, because as you said, I mean, that had to be just completely nerve-wracking.
Unbelievably.
How did you deal with that? Like, what were some tools, or you know, like, how did you make yourself kind of just get over that and perform in the moment?
Honestly, for me, my faith is the biggest part. I used to struggle with fear, and the biggest thing I've realized is what was the most crippling to me as an artist was comparing myself to other people. It's the most dangerous thing you can do, because it's always going to suffocate you. And what's been awesome with Skillet is, you know, we've played to my strengths. And though, yeah, I can't play like Travis Barker, I'll never be able to play like Travis Barker. I can play like Jen Ledger, and it turns out people like it, which is so nice, you know. And I think that if you're always comparing yourself to other people and what you can't do, you're just never going to move forward. However, if you can just start looking at the strengths and enjoying the things that you do well, the freedom and the joy that you find playing the way that you're meant to, people are really captivated by those things. And I've noticed with my playing, the very things I thought, I'm not good because I don't do this, or I'm not good because I don't do that, I just love to play. Turns out the fact that I just love to play has been my very strength, and the thing that people have loved about when I perform. So I don't know if that really makes sense, but a lot of it is just don't look to your left and right and just do your best. And for me, like, that first Winter Jam show was, you can imagine how intimidating that was, going from never performing ever to an arena. You know, it was just, there was no in between for me. And for me, I know this isn't the same for everyone, but my faith, I was like, Lord, I just need you to help me. And when I sat down that first ever show, I felt a peace come over me, because I knew I was meant to be there. It's like so many things had fallen into line. And that did just, from that day on, I've known like a peace and a presence of, I'm meant to be doing this. And that's what's carried me through 10 years now.
So good. So good. So into our full circle 5.
Yeah.
What book or record have you most recommended to people?
This is so hard because it depends on the season. You know how sometimes you get on a kick? But I'm going to say, like, if I go over, like, the last 10 years, like, the more steady season, one of my favorite all-time albums would be the Flyleaf self-titled. Their album slays me. I remember when I was 16 and I heard it and I just thought, I want to be her. That is so cool. And then books. Favorite Christian book would be God's Lavish Grace by Terry Virgo. It Will Set You Free. And then I just kind of love all like teen fiction. I love like Hunger Games, but that's kind of embarrassing. So we'll just move on by that.
Next question. Failure can be a great thing. It only turns into a lesson if it changes your perspective on things or changes how you behave or how you live your life. So
yeah.
Is there a moment that stands out in your life as your favorite failure that you maybe learned the most from?
I guess failure is like a hard way of saying it, but I'd more say like letting go has been key for me. Like I think something that's been a strength for me is letting go of, I think it's really dangerous to hold your identity in what you do. For example, if you know me as Jen Ledger, the drummer, and I hold my identity in being a drummer, I'm just going to fall short because there's always going to be people way better than you. And there's always going to be people that I just think that me knowing who I am as a person and even in starting like this side project, you know, it's been a really long road and there's been times where I've just wanted to give up because you think it's moving forward and then there's just a shock to the system. It gets slowed down. People don't like it. You know, there's just been so many times where you could just feel like you want to quit. And so I think that just holding it loosely and letting go of it, so that when you are said, like when someone tells you no or stop or slow down, it's freeing because you're like, you know what, though I love this and I'm so passionate about it, it won't be what defines me. I am Jen Ledger. I'm kind, I'm nice. These are the things that define me. This is something that I do. And so for me, it's been in the same sense that my lowest points have been not necessarily failure, but learn to let go of something and hold it loosely and just give your best to it and not let it define you.
So before you dove into music full time, what was the number one thing holding you back? Like before you maybe did that audition or made the leap?
Obviously fear played a huge role in my life, and I would just have to say the same thing. It would be comparing yourself will absolutely 100% hold you back. No doubt. Fear, of course, insecurity, and the fact that I wanted to be a hairdresser. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things that played into holding me back. But
so are you like the official band hairdresser, or does that kind of?
I'm not. I used to be, but because we're so busy on the road, and then once one person finds out that you cut hair, all of a sudden you've got everyone knocking on your door on a tour.
So it's a strategic move.
It's actually a secret. I don't cut hair. No one's allowed to know that.
That's awesome. So what is something, I know this is, you know, brand new in the Jen Ledger solo career, but what's something that's working for you right now?
Working for me. Embracing who I am. Embracing the fact that I can't sing like Demi Lovato. I can't sing like Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm, but I can sing like Jen Ledger. And I've got a voice that, you know, maybe I wish it had more finesse, or I wish it was a little raspier, you know, but embracing who you are as an artist, embracing just who you are as a person. It sounds so cheesy, but it is just the truth. Like getting to write with you has been so cool because we've just started. This is who I am. This is what I love to do. I love singing this way. Let's just do it. And it's kind of like the same lesson I've taken from the way I play the drums. We've just applied that to writing and to singing, and it's been really freeing. Yeah, amazing.
If you woke up tomorrow and still possessed all the experience and knowledge and skill set that you have today, but your career or business kind of completely vanished and you had to start from square one, what would you do?
That's such a hard question. I'd be like, should I be a hairdresser now? I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'd be like, call Seth Mosley and he'll help make it happen. I honestly don't know. I think I'd just say you've got to start writing and you just got to finish songs. Sometimes that's the hardest thing, is just finishing a song. You can start ideas and not finish it, if I think that's all. I mean, what can you say? Just go for it and start knocking on doors.
Yeah. So do you have advice for finishing songs? Like how, I know that's such a hard thing for
so hard, isn't
songwriters. Like when do you actually know when a song's done?
Honestly, when I get like really stuck, there's like more like practical advice I give. Like one of the things, if I'm writing on my own and I'm just stuck, practical advice, like get a thesaurus out, start looking down words. Do any of these words inspire you? Trigger a new thought, you know? Those are like my more practical thoughts on if you're like, I'm digging in and I'm writing this today. But sometimes I find that actually like leaving the song and driving to Target and just taking a break, sometimes things just come to you when you're not actually trying, you know what I mean? And then obviously the easiest thing to do is to write with someone like this. And then when I'm stuck for lyrics, someone else can help me finish them.
Collaboration. We talk about that so much. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Well, I know for you know, us even as full-time songwriters, like we live and breathe collaboration, because like what you bring in is so different than what whoever we were writing with yesterday.
Yeah. And it's just fun, isn't it? Like I love bouncing off someone and then you have a thought that I wouldn't have had, but it inspires a whole new thought process in me that I wouldn't have had you not been in the room. And even today with with the three of us in there, I'm like, this is just so fun, because you know, you always get stuck on your own and you have to dig in, but I love like hearing new melodies and even just like new patterns and stuff, and that's the best thing to do. It's just more fun, I think.
Yeah, so good. So obviously you're working on, well, you're releasing your first solo EP. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Honestly, I'm so excited. It's about freaking time. I'm releasing my EP. It should be coming out in April. Obviously, you can't release this video until we're allowed to, because it's all top,
when
top
our audience
secret.
is seeing it, it's all
gonna be out there by then. I really loved writing this. It's been so much fun. I've been writing with the Coopers. They've been training me. They've been working with me. Obviously, I've been getting to write with you. I've been writing with people, and it's just been so exciting. Like it's a little bit like Skillet music, but we've definitely pulled. I'm a little bit poppier and a little bit like, it's just a little bit lighter, I guess, in some senses, but still aggressive and cool. And I'm hoping that people will come out and see me play, and it'll be a ton of fun.
I love it. Well, I'm gonna be like the first person buying a ticket, and I have a 3.5-year-old daughter that loves playing drums, so I'm sure she's
gosh, adorable.
Looking up to you. So how can fans interact with you?
I am on Twitter, Instagram. What else is there? I will have a website by the time that this airs, and I think it will be ledgermusic.com. And then obviously just Jen Ledger on Instagram and on Twitter. So
awesome.
Reach out to me.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for being here with us on the Made It in Music podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been tons of fun.